Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. This time I'm talking to you through this format because, well, let's just say I have some things to show you. And those things are, as you can see from the, from the title of the doc, my Kindle TBR. This doc was initially titled My TBR, but then I realized it's not exactly complete because within it I'm just talking about the books that are currently unread that are on my that are on my Kindle. But truth be told, there are some books that I've set out to read that are also available in print. More precisely, I think they're in the. Let me just check. Yeah, they're in this particular pile right here. Though then again, some of them are maybes. I might cover these books eventually, but but a more direct note are the books in my Kindle, which is what I'll be talking about on this occasion. So anyway, without further ado, let's get it started with The Viking on Stamford Bridge, a heroic saga by Brent Jordan. This book has been on my TBR almost from the day it came out, back when I was still participating in writers' lifts, where when it's and for those of you who are not familiar with Twitter culture, or more precisely Twitter offer culture, and yes, I still call it Twitter. Fuck Elon Musk. Um, I uh, So anyway, for those of you who are unfamiliar with that particular culture, writers lift is where people post the hashtag that they that they're hosting something, and through that hosting they invite writers to typically to talk about their books, and post their links. A lot of the books I've found, and a lot of the earliest connections that I made on that I made on Twitter were made through these lifts. But after a while, you start seeing the same faces, the same names, the same stories. I don't know. I just kind of stopped. I might do it again in the in the near future. I'll consider it. And anyway, this is a book I found through these lifts. Almost, I'm gonna say 5, maybe 4 years ago. Uh, and I think I saw it as soon as this book was released. For those of you who don't know, the Viking on Stamford Bridge is an actual historical figure from the year 1066, the year of the year of the Triple Invasion, or more precisely, the year when the Anglo Saxons were invaded 3 times, twice by the Vikings, once by the Normans. The Vikings were repelled both times, but the Normans managed to stick around, and then made it the entire world's problem. Hence why I'm talking to you with this language rather than another. Um, one of the factors that could be argued to have led to that, and uh, uh, and also a pretty decisive story about heroism for Norse culture and Viking mythology more broadly, is the story of the Viking on Stamford Bridge, a a lone warrior who assured the retreat, who assured that the rest of his army had the time to retreat from the Anglo-Saxon forces. Uh, by basically battling all of them in a very restrained area, the titular Stamford Bridge. He has been very effectively chronicled, and I'm pretty sure the narrative behind him is somewhat well established within history circles. And perhaps unsurprisingly, there's a book about him as well. And I've heard there's going to be a TV series focusing on this figure as well. So Brent Jordan doesn't really need my help to doesn't really need my help to gain exposure, but I still want to look at this book, especially if it's about to become a TV series. I could I could take a gander at it and then compare to the TV series, just like I did with the Witcher books. That being said, I also assume that particular TV series will be will be better off than the Witcher series, primarily because the creator of the book is also involved with the series. That's that's typically a good sign. Anyway, with that out of the way, next up on this list is These Violent Nights by Rebecca Crunden. Rebecca Crunden, I also know her as the host of Indie Book Spotlight, which is a very prolific Twitter page, blog, and Discord server. Uh, and not to mention, Rebecca herself is extraordinarily prolific. Like, she has 27 books on her Amazon page. 6 of those are currently unavailable. Currently, as of the time of this video's production, which is in mid to late December, actually just mid December, 2025. So, uh, so and yeah, I wanted to look through her books for quite a while, and this really is the first one that sort of fell into my hands. Me- Metaphorically speaking, because these are Kindle books I'm talking about. I've seen that she has a lot of other stuff, but but looking through them, I didn't really find them as interesting as this one. So I thought I would start with this, and then if it catches me, I would go through I go through the other 20 eventually. What is this one about? Well, it's about a it's about a an advanced future setting where humanity is almost wiped out, and it follows two orphans who are stuck together, trying to trying to do their best to survive in a quasi urban environment within this dark future. That is basically all I know about it. And given Rebecca has been very community forward when it comes to when it comes to her broader activity in in terms of the uh, uh, she's been very in terms of her at least popular presentation, and the fact that she has been very prolific, well, with all the books that she wrote, and I can pretty confidently say that she did actually write them herself. And a lot of her persona is typically very against AI, I'm pretty certain. So I can quite confidently say AI was not used in writing those books. I am, I can quite confidently say this will very much be her baby, her vision, and I'm looking forward to see what that vision actually entails. Moving on, we have the the Gensokai Chronicles, or Gensokai Kaigai, if I recall correctly, by Virginia McLean. I already reviewed the Victoria Marmot book series by Virginia McLean. I won them in a giveaway, as I think I've mentioned. But I didn't just win the but I didn't just win those books. I also won this book off to the side right here, Cyro's Claw, which is as I understand it takes place roughly in the same world, but doesn't actually follow the events of books 1 and 2. It's basically a standalone. I only have the I only have the third book. I only have this spin-off, Cyro's Claw, currently in my on my Kindle, but I do intend to go through these. Other books as well. This ought to be, I've found plenty of fun. I've had plenty of fun from the Virginia McLean books, even if even if I found things to critique about them. there were still parts that I found were that I found to be compelling and interestingly written. And I am pretty sure that that these books, given they were written a little bit later and talk about talk upon topics that talk about topics that I think the author would have had to do a little bit more uh, research to get to get done properly. I think that will make for an interesting exploration of her of her style and of how it is that she will have changed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it is that she put out with these books. Moving ahead, we have A Kingsguard Tale by G.F. Allen. I may have already no, I didn't already review this. I'm mistake I'm I briefly mistook this book for another one I did actually talk about. This is this is another medievalist fantasy book. Not the first one I will have not the first one I will have read on this channel, but also I can't really say I can't really say much about it. I no, I haven't kept I haven't kept as close touch with with Alan as I have with some with some of the other people I mentioned. I haven't really followed his discography. I know it. I'm familiar with his pronouns, but that's about it. I also know this is the first book in the series, so if the book itself is good, I am very much looking forward to seeing what the rest of the series also has to bring. So for now, this book is very much a black box. So whatever is in there, I will I'll eventually find out about it. Moving ahead, we have Heir to the Sun by Carolyn Lickabo. I assume that's how that name is spoken. I do not know. This is another book that I've had, that I've had on my Kindle for, for quite a while. I think also from the Writer's Lips days, and and it's another one that is kind of it is kind of a black box. I know that it is part of a series, the first book in the series, and everything else I can glean from it. I basically have the cover to do so, and it looks like there will be a female protagonist, and the role will be a little bit more action focused. I I imagine it could be her being some kind of princess who is trying to regain her kingdom, or otherwise maybe she is involved with some maybe she's involved with some action hero stuff, like being a like being a mercenary or a knight or something like that, and having to deal a mm, with a dangerous ally, that kind of thing. Uh, I guess it's I guess I'll have to wait and see whatever that looks like. And next up, No More Tales to Tell by Thomas Muller. The second to last book in this in this particular TBR, and also I think the shortest. Like at, at least a few of at least a few of the books I've already presented go way over 400 pages. These Violent Nights in particular, I think, is at 480. And yeah, and Rebecca Grundon's other books are of a comparable length, and yeah, the fact that she wrote them without AI is also quite is also quite impressive. I'm not necessarily sure in what timescape she wrote this, or whether or whether I might not find out within like 5 or 10 years of something that she actually published books other people wrote in her name. I hope that not to be the case, but who knows. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. As I said, No More Tales to Tell is the shortest book on my Kindle TBR, and it also basically has a 1 or 2 sentence summary. It's about It's one about five guys who tell each other stories. Then a sixth guy shows up and tells the definitive story, the one after which there are no more tales to tell. I think it's supposed to be somewhat horror adjacent, and it falls into that people telling stories to each other category of books. Same as the literary classic that is the Decameron, which which I haven't read but am familiar with via its reputation. I am somewhat curious to see how that how this pans out and how it plays with its themes and its symbols, because really that is the main appeal of stories like this, taking a similar set of ideas but introducing them in different styles with different trappings. And finally, last but not least of the books I'll be talking about, in detail at least, is Daughters of Flood and Fury by Gabriela Buba. At least that's how I assume that name is spoken. I still haven't reached out to the author for clarification. The sequel to Saints of Storm and Sorrow, it almost has an alliterative title as well. Then again, I can't really think of of a word starting with F that is that's somewhat synonymous with daughter, with daughters. Uh, Maybe Femmes. Oh, Furies. That's a good connection that also ties into no, Furies of Flood and Fury doesn't work. Yeah, okay, daughters of Flood and Fury. That'll do just fine. The cover is quite similar in style to Saints of Storm and Sorrow, and from the description, it takes place a few years later and follows the younger sister of one of the protagonists of that book. It's it's an idea that I have to say, this presentation that I have to say does make me at least a little bit curious. And even though when it came to Saints of Storm and Sorrow, I did find myself to be, uh, uh, it was basically I basically saw it as the blueprint for, for a lot uh, of the trappings of modern adventure fantasy, to the point where I actually found myself to be not particularly pleased by those facets being there. I still think the book did a pretty good job at establishing and presenting them, and from what I can recall about the synopsis of this book, it is likely to be quite similar in that regard, of showcasing a story that appears quite conventional at first, only to then delve into the ways in which it becomes distinctive. That would be an interesting thing to see, even though it is technically a redo. Though I will say I do look forward to being to being proven wrong if this book is indeed different from its predecessor. And yeah, that was it. Those are the books on my Kindle TBR. A quick rundown on the books I have in my TBR, on my print TBR, are the first two are Ecce Homo and The Antichrist by Friedrich Nietzsche. I have a collection of Nietzsche books right there, and of my collection, I have read Twilight of the Idols, On the Genealogy of Morality, and Thus Spake, whatever. I'll go with Spoke. Thus Spoke Zarathustra. I don't have the Gay Sciences yet. I am interested, but I can say I am interested in getting that. Whether that counts as me putting it into the TBR is a separate question, though, to be honest. Next up, we have Gabor Mate and the Myth of Normalcy, which is kind of the red stripe in the, yeah, right there, this little red stripe right here. So yeah, this is one where, this is one I actually kind of got from my this is one where I got from my mother, who kind of has developed an interest in stuff like pop psychology and personal growth stuff. Um, it's so yeah, it kind of I don't really know what to make of this, but I have checked out the publisher. The publisher, sounds like it could be somewhat interesting. Next up, below that is 365 Days That Have Shaped the History of Humanity by William Marsh and Bruce Carrick. Again, I imagine it's one of those. I imagine it's some kind of maybe it's not pop history. It's more like it's more like a commentary book. Will be somewhat interesting to observe. Next up, definitely falling into the pop psychology, that little blue stripe is Train Your Brain by Joe Dispenza, published by Corinth Publishing House, which I've already spoken to on at least a few occasions on this channel. And it's about, as the title may have given away, uh, exercise situations for how to work with your own mind. Well, whether they work or anything is something that I have yet to see. Then that little white stripe is How to Only Do What Really Matters by Rob and Steven Schallenberger. I pretty much imagine that's basically a neoliberal inspo porn, to be honest. Like it's just, like it's like there could be some useful advice in there about how to, about how to plan and set about how to set goals and then plan your and then plan yourself. But I broadly imagine most of the book won't necessarily be as practical, as functional, or as utilitarian. It may, it may just be a lot of, it may just be a lot of fluff, or otherwise, I might just be able to immediately see through it because of, because I would be able to pick up on a lot of the assumptions that this book makes. Oh well, I guess we'll wait and see if if it actually becomes part of my TBR. Next books of note, um, and the final two, the base of that little tower, uh, are actually two books by Dostoevsky. They are Crime and Punishment and The Demons. The Demons? Yeah, The Demons. So yeah, Crime and Punishment. I really don't think you need me to tell you what it's about. It is a classic for a reason. At least it has a very particular a legacy as a classic. Though I primarily know it for because it is a refutation of Nietzsche, and one that I don't particularly find and one I don't find particularly compelling either. But that's beside the point. Or at least I don't find it compelling in for its reputation. Maybe when I look through it myself, I'll change my mind, or be better able to explain why it's a bad refutation. Who knows? Demons, however, is very much a not exactly a non-entity, but it is another but it is another one another unknown in terms of the in terms of the books I've been talking about throughout this video. All I know is that it is written by Dostoevsky, and as such, it is likely to follow a lot of his. Uh, mm, uh, it is likely to follow in a lot of his principles and motifs. Whether that is in fact the case is something uh, I'll have to see for myself. Until then, however, I would like to thank you for your attention. And uh, and I do have to say that even though I just pointed out that there are lots of books that I am yet to read, the first, the first book review of the year 2026 will actually be none of the above. What exactly will be, you'll have to wait until next week. Until then, I want to once again reiterate my my thanks for your attention. So if you've enjoyed watching me stumble off the cuff through these book presentations, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there is anything you'd like to add, either to the books themselves or to the impressions I have of them, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. And given it's the first review of the year, it might just be of interest to you. Even in the abstract. Beyond that, I'm a writer myself, and my first two books, the first of my own Heir to the Empire series, The Next Generation and The Path Not Taken, are available at various book retailers under their respective master links in the description down below. Right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. I also have a second channel where you can hear me talking about whatever crosses my mind that'll still be related to narrative analyses, but of works outside the print medium. So if that sounds like it could be of interest to you, go ahead and check it out. If, however, you want to hear more about my thoughts on the print medium and selected works therein, well then I suggest you stay on this channel and go through my extensive backlog, which contains mostly book reviews, and by that I mean the large, if not vast majority of it is book reviews. But I also do rewriting videos, writing advice videos, as well as the occasional miscellaneous connected video, such as this one. So if any of that grabs your attention, then go ahead and check it out. If, however, none of what I've said sounds like it could be of interest to you, well then I suggest you go ahead and do whatever you want the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. And yeah, that was it from me. So until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.